Trigger Studios, literally speaking through you through Haitian, the Dragon Ball character. Anyways, dog, I just want to quickly compile all of my first few shorts that I've been dropping for the past 2 weeks on here into it, and to maybe finally give some views on it. So do your boy a favor, comment, hype up the video so it can get more out there, and make sure to comment which short idea was your favorite so I can improve and maybe see even some of your own personal ideas requested. Kinda like what Classic Man D be doing low-key. Anyways, that's all for me. Go ahead and enjoy the video. If Dark Sonic was canon, every Sonic fan just stood up in applause for the idea. If you didn't know, Dark Sonic is a non-canon form that appeared in the mostly whack but few peak Sonic X, where after seeing Chris and Cosmo get profiled by the Meta-Rex and combining that anger with the fake Chaos Emeralds around him, allowed him to change into the Dark Menace himself, no racial. Ever since his one-shot appearance, he's appeared in many other Sonic fan projects, mods, and of course spry animations. Including me, I'm one of said animators. The first main series that ever blew up on my channel actually was my Sonic and Shadow vs Mario Brothers fight. I mean, just look at the menacery on screen. What kind of made-up word? That's the interesting part of the form. From my animation background, Dark Sonic has always ranged from being a form that's weaker than a super form, even stronger depending on the interpretation. I mean, you guys peeped Battle Sprites before? There was like 3 versions of Dark Sonic on there, even though I lean more on the interpretation that's a form weaker than Super Sonic. You know, kinda like Sonic's version of the false Super Saiyan form, if you get what I mean. I decided to actually tackle this idea myself, because the use of anger and rage could easily make this form run deeper than you think. I have a big compilation video going over the classic saga of such an idea. So finally, bums like me and you can finally get the answer to what if Sonic and Scourge were twins? I know, it's a wild idea. Having you and your evil 90s counterpart coming out of the same womb wouldn't be looking good for any family picture. Admittedly, I'd even grew up on Archie Sonic comics like that. My only way of experiencing them was literally reading free samples on Google Play Books, aka the only first 10 to 15 pages. I was getting no story. Since I like to focus more on the game universe for these ideas, you know, they're easier to manage. Just imagine what type of catastrophe Scourge would be causing as an evil twin. Dog, there wouldn't be any hero activities at all. He pulls up to Green Hill. He isn't here to save the place from Eggman. My boy's about to make this place his own turf, making it a requirement for the animal critters to check in. Not only do you have the dynamic of 2 royal twins with opposite personalities, even when it comes to their cockiness. For me, the most interesting aspect is having the Green Menace as a canon character and how he'd interact with the rest of the cast. Like, what would the teams in Sonic Heroes even be like? Is his cocky nature gonna have him hanging around more slimy type characters like Rouge, Fang, or even the Babylon Rogues? Or would he have bad influences on others here, growing his own gang of followers compared to Sonic's friends? This universe having Tails being taken under his wing instead of Sonic, turning the good genius into a corrupted kid, you know, kinda like a suburban kid trying to rep the streets of Chicago, thinking saying 6'7" will save him from getting shot. Anyways, dog, all of this not even mentioning the potential of the Chaos Emeralds being in his hand. No, Aranuk or Bello or whatever how you pronounce that junk. Having the same potential as the Blue Blur, things will get messy fast here. But hey, y'all know me, just like the last short, I decided to give this endeavor as a story on my channel, so bums like me and you can really see how crazy it would be if Invincible Loki made variants cool again. I'm surprised nobody's brought this up, so I'ma mention it, dog. Man, back when season 3 was airing and the Invincible War episode dropped, did you guys see how much it took the internet by storm? Some bum really looked at the comic panels and said, nah dog, you know what this needs? Some Brazilian funk music talking about some that junk was clean, and you know it's true. I wouldn't be caught dead listening to this music in public, but I also wouldn't be lying to you if I say I wasn't blasting a MC Lock Mountain Spanish music while benching my second Saiyan Planet Fitness. These TikTok editors had no reason to make this junk clean. The reason why you can't say I'm lying is look at all the trends that happened after. Invincible fans like myself were like, Our Invincible is even the coolest one. All of the cool fan art variants for other fictional characters in universe, my favorite ones being the ones for Sonic and Goku. These artists put only 100% in their work. Look at how they got this dude Metal on the bottom doing the Prowler meme. You haven't been tough since Heroes, relax. Moving on from the Metal slander, variants and evil copies when done right has always been cool to me. Scourge, Turles from Dragon Ball, can't forget this bum Darkling, have all been in an aura deficit for decades. But hey, that's just some of my quick thoughts. Comment some of your favorite fictional variants below that need a comeback. Subscribe to your dog for more. Which Sonic form is stronger than Super Sonic? The ultimate debate. As a retired spy animator that quit because of views and headaches, I've literally spent half my YouTube career animating or even watching these forms fight myself. I mean guys, you don't think my dog Devil Hog over here is making the cut? Alright, let's focus on the actual canon forms, and let's put some of the popular options out of the way. No Dark Sonic, man, even though my original username may have been this junk right here. To me, this form is just the closest thing to a false Super Saiyan for Sonic. Obviously no Werehog. Fleetway and Excalibur to me I think are around the same level. Maybe you can argue that Fleetway's a bit stronger. I just realized I said canon forms and then brought up Fleetway. What am I doing? Dark Spine Sonic. This man only put 3 of how many world rings and went this crazy? Imagine if he had the whole set on. LeBron. Next up, Super Sonic 2. I'm not calling that junk cyber. I may have never played Frontiers myself yet, but the sudden increase in ore farming I'm seeing in these scenes I'm looking at is having me geeked, I'm not gonna lie. Finally, Hypersonic. Bring him home. Even though this form was only used by Classic Sonic, I still believe he blows every other form out of the water. If you know games, Sonic RPG is literally the only way we can see how crazy a modern iteration of this form could be. But hey, we gatekeeping peak, forget what I said, forget about some forms you think I may have missed out on, and I'll see you bums on the next one. This is demonic. Absolute Joker's art sheet just dropped, and it's kind of making a dude take a twinkle in his own man cave. Now me personally, I'm not too much of a comic book guy myself, you know, I leave these things to funny YouTubers like Noah to drop videos on. But if there are any that would get me to pick up a copy besides Invincible and maybe Ultimate Spider-Man, it would be this series. But to hop back on topic, look at this man's frame. I've never seen such a disfigured body to height ratio. I thought I had the sleeper build in real life. Clearly I needed to see some motivation. The audacity of him to have some stitches, or are those his veins that are acting like his eyebrows while they're pointed up deviously like a cartoon character, is killing me. I don't know too much about Batman's lore besides all of his gassing up when it comes to power scaling, but it's gonna take more than prep time to take down this dude. They're really out here making every one of his villains Goliath height at all costs. Tell me some of you guys' thoughts on how the comic is going below, subscribe, and I'll see you bums on the next one. I like and dislike Metal Sonic. It's time to come clean. I was already getting thrown accusations in my Sonic Frauds video, but let me explain myself. Again, as a retired spy animator and one who grew up playing Flash games, the best example of mechanized ministry, not another made up word, was Mecha Sonic from Super Mario Bros. Z, and even me animating him myself. And I know it's unfair to compare a technical OC with an official character, but this man actually won fights, unlike Buddy over here. It's just that years of me growing up and seeing this man getting passed around like a generic boss with no aspirations, no W's, and even more interesting robots being out there made me kinda lose respect for him, especially in that Sonic 4 episode. Ooh, I hate that game. Again, there are his peaks I like as well, the OVA with the iconic line and animation, Heroes where he finally becomes Sega Cell. I have glanced at a few panels at IDW, you know, the aura is reversing a little bit. At the end of the day, he's still a cool villain, he's just not really my top pick personally. But hey, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm still being mad about those Sonic Hero special stages. Subscribe to help your dog reach 7K, and I'll see you bums on the next one. When you think jumping, people are I don't want Peak to end. Dispatch, the game that's been low-key taking over the internet lately, is finally dropping its final 2 chapters tomorrow. And I really don't know how these developers are gonna wrap things up, even though I don't want things to get wrapped up, because I think we can all agree that Roast Real Estate Robber needs a season 2. I know I can't be the only one who had to dodge spoilers like UI Goku, because a specific YouTuber you wanted to watch the POV from still didn't upload. Dude like me last week was quickly pressing don't recommend channels while I was waiting for either Corey, Berlizzi, or RDC to hurry up and drop their gameplays already. It's a bit strange, dog. First time in a while I felt like I was watching a weekly show myself, not being able to predict what's gonna happen, theories, and all the other bibber babble. But hey, hopefully they cook tomorrow. Subscribe to help your dog on the road to 7K, and we're Team Blonde Blaze around these parts. I'll see you bums on the next one. What if Fleetway Sonic turned good? Yes sir, I'll take all the hype. If you somehow grew up watching Sprite animations or are wondering where this crazy looking Super Sonic came from, this version of Super Sonic originates from the Fleetway comics, where in this universe the super form itself is actually evil. I was bothered by some actually bums yesterday, so yes, this did happen in the original comics already, but I wanted to take a direction where it happened in the games instead, essentially basing it off the idea that the super forms itself created a new personality that follows the will of the user, which itself could have been a what-if idea. All in all, a universe where the Fleetway Sonic is treated somewhat like a good hollow Ichigo from Bleach, or maybe a later down the road Kurama from Naruto, him being born of the emeralds leading to a more unique way to use the chaos power. Both personalities being the opposite and developing even different friend groups along the way. Your dog really leaning towards the idea that Fleetway really is just the demonic 5th gear version of Sonic. You know how it is though, I was commissioned to do this one-shot premise already. And hey, if you don't like him turning good, I still got my Dark Sonic story where he's still evil. So finally, just like any other Hedgehog given a second chance, there's another place in time where he was born in the present. Instead of being from the future demolished by Iblis, he's from the present timeline like everyone else, converting him from the future Trunks to more like the Gohan of the Sonic Z Fighters. Whatever that means. Let me season really quick though. This idea has so much potential by putting all 3 of the big 3 Hedgehogs in the same time period. Plus now, when you take things through this perspective, now you gotta create a new origin story for Silver here. Is he another ultimate lifeform experiment created by the government instead of Gerald here? Is he just a resident in Soliana, or just comes from the city like people like Amy? The idea I went with though is colliding with this whole time theme, making him born on Little Planet itself, being introduced in Sonic CD, where after helping and meeting Sonic and Amy there, he would go on into his own adventures alongside the two. Later on, creating a Team Silver with him, Amy, and Mighty as the trio then, with the added touch of him being the guardian of the time stones here, and definitely having some of that Mob Psycho influence in there. This does even touch on how crazy powerful, strong a hypothetical Metal Silver would be here, having all of the same psychic potential, but with the mindset of I guess Aizen from Bleach. Yes, my artist did his thing. Fun fact actually, this idea was originally going to be my first what if on here, but I decided to switch to Dark Sonic later on. Nevertheless though, with all these components, how much Silver would really impact the game series? Dog, it would really be some heat to see a world with